For most of us, this is about as close as we've ever gotten to a glacier. For others, a ride on these massive glacial buses has brought tens of thousands of tourists to some of the more famous Canadian glaciers. But honestly, where's the excitement in that? But for us modern-day adventurers, we just take our Jeeps. Immediately after completing the Whipsaw Trail, we were back on the road again.
So we've gone from one adventure right into another. We are now going to see a glacier. We're just a little bit northwest, a few hours northwest of the Whipsaw Trail, which we just completed, and it was awesome. Strongly recommend that. And now we're heading up some obscure FSR. Well, it's not that obscure. It's actually a pretty popular FSR towards a glacier. So I'm pretty stoked. I've never seen a glacier as close as you can get to this one, so I'm really excited for this adventure.
Our adventure starts on a misty mountain in the southern Rockies of British Columbia. We will be heading deep into this thick forest on a trip that we will never forget. The conditions were absolutely perfect, which was a welcome change from the forest fire smoke we've had to endure all summer long. We will be traveling just over 200 kilometers on a combination of FSRs and a few very mild but steep off-road trails to get to our destination. A destination where nature's beauty and rugged terrain collide.
There's one bridge crossing that, everything I've seen, it's sketchy AF. Like, it is crazy sketchy. So we'll see what Rachel thinks of that one. But for now, we're just on pretty basic FSRs, and as the elevation gains, the terrain should get a little rougher.
The further away from civilization we drove, the more beautiful the scenery got. This was just the beginning of a long climb that would end at over 8,000 feet. So far, the route has been simple, but after Whipsaw, it's nice to give my transfer case a breather. As with most trails in British Columbia, logging is everywhere.
We're about 15 kilometers from the glacier, so I'm assuming we're going to start climbing. We're at around 3,000 feet, and the glacier's at 7,500 to 8,000, so we got some climbing to do, which it's got to be starting pretty soon. But it's absolutely amazing scenery that we're seeing here.
With just under 15 kilometers to go, we could see one of the glaciers we would be visiting in the distance. It was a truly magnificent sight. We were now within 8 kilometers of the end of the trail, and the road was still, well, a road. I was starting to wonder if the road would end and the trail would begin. And then we came upon it.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, that is a sketchy looking bridge.
Before we could really start on the climb, we would have to cross this bridge, which has definitely seen better days.
I had a dream that I had to cross a bridge like this, except it was all like that.
Well, kid, your dream is now a reality, because we are going to cross this sketchy bridge.
The thing about these old bridges is that they tend to look worse than they actually are. Well, at least that's what I kept telling myself as I drove across. The final 2,500 feet of this trek to the glacier was absolutely exhilarating. This rock slide offered a tiny challenge. If it weren't off camber, I probably wouldn't even have bothered filming it. That being said, the allure of this trail is not the technicality of it all. When the Alpine Club of Canada built this trail in the 70s for high altitude training, I'm pretty sure they really weren't trying to lay down a trail that would be technically challenging for Jeep cultists like Rey and I.
It's interesting, until now it has been kind of gradual. Didn't really even notice that you're going uphill. But this is like Lord of the Rings meets end scene of The Sound of Music. We just need a Matto to sing The Hills Are Alive.
I'm not singing The Hills Are Alive. I have dignity.
The hills are alive with the sound of music.
Well, now I know where I have the headache from.
You were supposed to go la 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 la. And for those of you who are interested, we are at 2,420 meters and counting. We are nearing the end of the trail, and the glacier is like right there. This is probably the highlight of my wheeling journey so far.
The ruggedness of the rocks and the lack of trees at this altitude really made this feel like another planet. Not ours. Not Earth.
What an absolutely amazing place. Like, wow, just mind blown.
The glacier itself was nothing short of spectacular. Even now, I don't have the words to describe what we saw that day.
Can't beat this. Hey, do those things ever break off?
Not unless you're walking on it.
The size of this glacier was enormous, but when compared to the Columbia ice field, the Athabasca Glacier, or even the Stutfield Glacier, this one pales in comparison. It probably wouldn't even make it onto the top 20 list for Canadian glaciers.
You ever thought you'd do something like this?
I'm not shocked, but I don't think I'd think about driving up this close to a glacier.
It's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
Better than the Whipsaw?
Yeah, I like it better than the Whipsaw.
After enjoying lunch at 8,000 feet, Rey left some of her artwork behind for others to enjoy. Inspired by the stunning views, she also pulled out her pencil and her sketchbook. Ruby wasn't quite done helping us explore this area just yet. After our lunch break, it was time to head down, as there is still more for us to see up here.
We took the main trail as far as we could. There's another one over by the emergency shelter. I want to check out where that one leads to. And then we're going to... I used the name, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Shit.
You have to redo it.
Well, we took the main trail up to the first glacier, because it looks like there's two glaciers up here. We took the main trail up to the first one. And now we're just going to head back down to the emergency shelter, because there was another trail that forked off. So I'm going to... forked off. Yeah, so we're going to see where that one leads, and then we're going to head back down into the valley and find a place to camp for the night.
Given how extreme the winter conditions are up here, I was surprised this shelter was in the condition that it was. No doubt thanks to the dedicated volunteers from the British Columbia Mountaineering Club.
So it's a fairly well-maintained emergency shelter. We've got a couple cots here just in case. There's a wood-burning fireplace. There's Jenga.
Jenga.
There's cards, there's Uno, there's Band-Aids. There's kind of like everything you would expect from an emergency shelter.
Hey, do you think this stuff's better than the shit I brought?
No. It's like the barbecue sauce we found. Just because it's here doesn't mean it's better.
What if you're wrong? What if that's like the best instant coffee that ever existed?
What if we get food poisoning and die from some weird virus that lives exclusively in that coffee?
And my daughter Rey brought up an interesting point. She's saying, well, it's surprising it's not trashed. Well, the reason it's not trashed is because the people that come up here actually respect this place, you know, and they're going to take care of it because they know somebody just might need this in a pinch, and it's got to be in decent shape to keep them safe until they can, you know, get out of here. I could totally hang out here for an evening, you know, have barbecue, play some card games with friends. This would be a place to hang out. I could totally hang out here. What about you, Rey?
Wow, you talk fast.
All that, and
yeah.
Wow, you talk fast.
In addition to the usual signatures and stickers, someone was kind enough to post some of their artwork. Time for just a bit more exploring up here before we head back into the valley below.
This area just keeps getting cooler and cooler. We took that alternate trail I was talking about earlier, and we've got a waterfall feeding this amazing tiny little lake or body of water. This is pretty awesome place. I'm impressed.
Again, I really don't know what to say. This is one of the most impressive sights that I have ever taken in. Neither words nor film can convey the emotions we were feeling or the sight we were seeing. We continued to climb up the mountain. We would follow a trail nearly to its end. Well, we would go as far as my park brake trust issues would allow me to go. After a day filled with breathtaking vistas and an unforgettable adventure, we began our descent from the mountain. Every inch was a reluctant farewell to the majesty we had just witnessed. The sun dipped lower on the horizon, casting the beginnings of golden hour across the rugged terrain, as if bidding us to return sooner rather than later. With our hearts full of awe and minds swirling with memories, we slowly made our way down, knowing that the mountain spirit would forever echo in our souls.
We are on our way down from the glacier, and I guess now it's time to kind of like reflect on what we just saw, and I'm still trying to like take it all in.
You're acting like you were deeply traumatized. Try to process what we saw.
Anyways, it's nice that we still have access to places like this, because I fear it's just a ticking bomb. That's why I'm really not willing to say where it was. I mean, if you do a little bit of Googling, you can probably figure it out pretty quick, but I'm just happy we still have access to places like this, because like you could literally walk right up to that glacier. I've been to a lot of places, but for me this is right up there with Moab. This was just pure scenery, and it was amazing. I felt like I was shooting a Discovery Channel documentary almost. It was just so epic. Yes, I'm still processing it. Ray,
Do your breathing exercise.
ow, 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 ow. What? You told me to de-stress.
That is like the opposite of de-anxiety breathing.
This area is a rare gem, a hidden treasure, if you will, that demands our reverence and protection for the generations yet to come. Its beauty and spirit are irreplaceable, a legacy that should echo through time. Rey has grown up with her crazy dad and his wheeling lunacy. Yet I fear that if we don't rally together, this cherished pastime may fade into oblivion with our generation. While this was one of the highlights of my wheeling adventure, this was just the beginning.
It's not that I was anxious, it was so stellar. I just can't believe what we just saw. That's what I'm trying to say. I can't believe what we just saw. It was awesome.